Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. We got a good one today as I attempt what my wife is especially known for, okay? She makes a steak and mushroom pie that is out of this world, fantastically delicious. I'm trying to, cross that over into the barbecue world. Anyhow, it should be tasty. At least this experiment is, how can it fail, right? And then I'm going to follow that up with a cookie that my dad's mother was especially known for. Cheese wafers. So good. Okay, as I mentioned, this is really my wife's thing, right? She does steak and mushroom pie, and this came to her from a friend named Kathy. She says Kathy is her oldest friend, but I think she has friends actually that are a lot older than Kathy. But anyhow, in this event, I'm taking this and kind of crossing it over into a brisket form instead of using like chuck roast or anything like that. So the plan here is to smoke a brisket up, cube that meat, get the wine reduction going, brown onions, sear those cubes up, braise everything, and then mix in some brown mushrooms and then bake it with the puff pastry. So basically taking the same recipe, but just throwing, if you will, brisket into place of like chuck roast. And before I forget, I've got the full recipe that I'm following here down in the description below. So be sure to check that out if you want to see everything in its blow-by-blow format. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to see if I can at least get in the same ballpark as her. So I've got myself a brisket, and I talked with her a little bit about this, and I asked her, I said, should I use the point or the flat? And we kind of landed on using the point because it really, does well to have a little bit of fattier, meat in this, okay? However, there was a element of learning with respect to using the point, and I'll get into that a little bit later. So trimming this thing up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get as much smoke on this as I can, and I'm going to line this out, more or less using that Goldie's method, if you recall. Okay, now that Goldie's approach is one where basically on the meat side it's pepper, kosher salt, and then we flip it over, we give it a mustard slather, and then we go pepper, salt, and Lowry's. And I gotta tell you guys, this actually works out fairly well. I have two favorites now when it comes to smoking brisket up. There's that Goldie's method, and then my black on blacks method that I use. But this time I'm going Goldie's, number one, because I'm out of my black seasoning. But number two, this one's really good, right? So having this put together, we're ready for an overnight dry brine. And this is going in the fridge, and I'm going to wake up early in the morning and get this out there for the smoke. Now, with respect to the brisket smoke, okay, again, I've had this in the refrigerator, and actually it's looking pretty good, okay? But I need to cut this in half because I'm not going to, use the whole brisket, because what I'm going to be doing again is cubing this up after I smoke it. So I'm going to get smoke on one half of this, right, and on the point, and then I'm going to basically do the flat like I normally do. So I finish it up and I just have a brisket flat for a second dinner, if you will, in the week. So here we go. Got it on there, got some good smoke, got that on early in the morning, midday we're there, a little bit in the afternoon, it's looking a little bit richer, and we're letting that thing go. And then basically we get to the end of the evening, and it's looking pretty good. Actually, I had that a little over 170 degrees Fahrenheit. So wrap that up in foil, put that back in the fridge, okay, and basically got that out the next day. So this was going to be a little bit of how Blacks does it with the refrigerator time to increase the smoke or enhance the smoke. Okay, they do that. They actually refrigerate after the stall, and yeah, it's looking good. So now it's time to cube this up, and I'm doing this between 1 and 1.5 inches, and sometimes a little bit smaller. And the reason they're a little bit big is because during the cooking process it will shrink down, okay, and it'll shred to a certain degree during the braise that's going to come a little bit later. So got my large Ziploc baggies and have this split between two of those, and I'm adding some W sauce from Bear & Burton's. And the reason I'm doing that is I want to moisten this up, because we're going to coat this with flour in a little bit, and then we're going to effectively cook that flour on the meat, basically sear each side a little bit, kind of like what you might do with a pot roast, okay? And that way it kind of preserves a little bit of the flavor in there. But up front, according to my wife, and I guess according to Kathy, her oldest friend, I've got to slice some onions up. So slicing 3 really large onions up and getting that into my wife's, Le Creuset, pan here, and or pot. I guess that's really a pot. And basically going to brown these, all up. Okay, and this takes a little bit of time. So while that's going, I've got this nice red wine of hers that she loaned to this experiment, 19 Crimes. Apparently it's a full-bodied red, and you want to go with a full-bodied red. And then what we're going to do is we're going to reduce that, and we're going to add into it 3/4 of a jar of this Better Than Beef bouillon. Okay, and I don't know what's in this, but it does make this thing have a pretty good rich flavor. So that bouillon and the wine, really, come together in a nice sauce at the end of this. But as I mentioned, you want to avoid over reducing that. It's real easy to, forget about it and let it go all the way down. You don't want to do that. You just want to get it about halfway down. And then as far as the onions go, get them to where they're like this, nice and golden all the way through, translucent and golden. It looks good, and smells good too. So now we're ready to basically take that cubed meat that was marinating a little bit in that W sauce, and we're just going to shake that up in the flour bag, and then effectively put that, into the pot. And yeah, it's going to crust up the bottom of the pot a little bit, but that's okay, because at the end of the day, that's going to help thicken up the sauce and add a little bit of flavor, to this as well. And as you can see, I'm getting in there with tongs and kind of flipping this over and everything. And I will readily admit, I had no clue that it was this tedious, and all this time she was making it look that effortless, because I'm in here and I mean, this is wearing me out. Okay, a lot of work, but the thing is, I've had this before, and I know it's worthwhile work because it always tastes great at the end of the day. So anyhow, I'm committed to this. So now that we got all that together, throwing it all in a pot because we're getting ready for the braise. Okay, and yes, I did put 2 cups of beef stock in here as well. All right, just to add a little bit more to it, and then stirring that up, just making sure everything's evenly coated. Now as you look at this, okay, yeah, it looks like it's a little light on liquid, but not really, because what's going to happen is all the juices inside that beef are going to melt out, and it's going to really be pretty full. Okay, but now while that's braising, one of the things that we need to do is chop up our mushrooms. Okay, now I got myself some of those baby Bella mushrooms, and what we're doing is basically chopping those up, and just like we did with the onions, we're going to get these to a really nice golden brown. Okay, so you don't cook the mushrooms in with everything up front, because they would just basically disintegrate and disappear. Some of the onions actually do, but you add a little bit of kosher salt in here and just basically cook these down, and you get them really just nice and brown. Okay, and they land about right here. All right, and then after that 2-hour braise at 250 degrees Fahrenheit, you see what I mean? We are looking good. Everything has kind of done its job. But one of the things that I noticed was the brisket fat may be too fatty. Okay, the brisket, fat end may be too fatty. I got as much of that grease out as I could, and then basically, my wife coached me on thickening this up with woodridge, says she does it all the time, and that's kind of one of the other secrets that she picked up, with this recipe. So dumping a little woodridge in, to thicken it up, and I've got that there. And of course, I have a couple of kids that are no mushroom kids, at least they say that. Now, mind you, they like green bean casserole that has mushroom soup in it and everything else. But everybody else is getting the steak and mushroom version of this, or the brisket and mushroom version. And yeah, I did miss putting the mushrooms in with everything in the pot, so I'm having to mix it there in the casserole dish. A little bit of a pain, but it works. And yeah, I may be a little bit too full on the bigger one. It's going to be close. Okay, so now we're ready to kind of top this off with the puff pastry, and get that in place, because yeah, this is almost like a pot pie of sorts. And yeah, she told me to do it this way exactly. So I'm lining this thing up, getting it into shape, and now that I have that in place, one of the things I have to do is effectively score the top, give it some holes to breathe in, right? So we're going to be able to vent some of the steam out from inside of this. And I gotta tell you, I am a fan of chicken pot pie. I'm a fan of beef pot pie. And so I'm actually a fan of, this as well. Okay, so 350, and you get this to basically as golden brown as you want it. This is kind of where I decided to land. And yeah, this thing was bubbling. But here's the thing, the aroma coming out of the oven and in the house, whoa, I mean, it's just knocked dead, drop out gorgeous. Okay, so that being said, time to serve up dinner. All right, we got it all laid out, we got it all in place, and I gotta tell you, we're looking pretty good. And yeah, it does take a little while, and I use that time to make some banana pudding for everybody, and I gotta tell you, everybody was pretty pleased with this one. Okay, now that said, as I mentioned, that brisket flat, I probably should have used that and maybe a little bit of point. And I will admit the chuck version is easier, so if you do this, feel free to. It comes out a little like a rich pot roast in nature, but it is really good and it is worth it. So I hope you guys enjoy it, because we enjoyed this. Now, this is Mama's thing, okay? Cayenne cheese wafers, and this is the recipe right here. And I gotta tell you, this is a simple one to do, and a tasty one as well. It has a little bit of kick to it, and for a mild-mannered woman like she was, she actually enjoyed that little kick, and I got kind of addicted to it as well. I mean, the problem is you just can't put these things down, okay? So we start off with some flour and some butter, and we cut that in and get that mixed in together, and that forms the basis of a little bit, I guess you could say, of this butter cookie of sorts, okay? And it's just going to be this kind of chunky dough up front, all right? And we're then going to add everything into it and then mix this up a little bit further. And if you're like me and you like that little burnt piece of cheese that's on the edge of the casserole dish or something like that, I guarantee you're going to like these cookies, okay? So got the flour in there, got everything else in there, dropping a little bit of salt per the recipe. And yeah, I may be going a little bit heavy on the cayenne, but not too heavy, because it's just added flavor as far as I'm concerned. All right, stirring this thing up, got the cheese in there, got the Rice Krispies going in there. Actually, I think I got the Rice Krispies in there first and then cheese a little bit later. Yep, here we go, got some cheese going, and just giving that a good mix up, just making sure that everything just kind of comes together and is well combined at the end of the day, right? And probably should have put the cheese in earlier, when I was before the Rice Krispies. That's what the recipe calls for, and I just kind of missed that step actually. But once these are all together, what I like to do is I like to get an ice cream scoop, a small one, and I put them in place to get them all the right size, and then I smush these down with the bottom of my 2-cup measuring cup, right, and some parchment paper, and that just gets them pressed out flat and everything, so that when these things cook up, and they're not going to expand much at all, okay, they get pretty dark and crunchy right there in the spot, and there you go, coming together well. Now cook these as brown as you want. This is kind of where I landed, and honestly, you're never going to make enough of these. They go quick. Honestly, they're so damn good. All right, it is in time once more. Okay, so this is my wife's cookbook with all of her special recipes, and I noticed something about it. Gabriel put his name on it. Now, I asked her about it, and she said, yeah, he's going around putting his name on everything he wants whenever we're gone. It has me thinking, do I need to check the back of my dual fire? Does he have his name on my dual fire? Hey everybody, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I really enjoy it when you do that. And a like doesn't hurt either. But most of all, give me some comments.